Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream slash recording of Hearthstone. Today is May 23rd, Tuesday, and we've still got a decent amount of things to do. Let's finish the Murloc plays and then see if we can get all of this done. We are going through a lot of chat. A lot of people are chatting today, so I'm falling behind on news. Loki, I'll play you after this recording almost certainly, because I don't think I'm ever gonna really want to do 3 recordings. So in about 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't put a long break in between the recordings when I'm live streaming, just usually long enough for me to drink something, and because I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. If I do put a long break on it, it's because I'm running to a bathroom or eating food. Often I start streaming. I know I start late in the evening for normal people, but for me this is actually just when I wake up, and so I don't like to even eat when I wake up. So I can often go an hour and a half, 2 hours and a half with having not eaten any food at all. So sometimes I'll do a break like that. I try not to have that happen, however. Let's play this here. I need to rush through the news. A company called FPS is showing off a liquid cool powered supply. So that's really crazy. Like, putting liquid cooling in your power supply. I don't even know if it would do anything, because it's not like your power supply is running at very fast cycles. If you're getting power inside of it, it's 60 Hertz. The only thing you're going to be cooling down is capacitors and such inside of it. So it seems like a gimmick, but maybe it does increase the efficiency of power supplies, and efficiency might help a little bit, but I bet it not that much. Let's see if you have a Murloc, discover a Murloc, or play this and this. Alright, so that, and that. I don't actually need to win here, though. I need to play Murlocs. Bandai Namco, I already talked about them. They're postponing their game Get Even because of the Manchester attacks, which probably implies there's something in the game Get Even that's too similar, or set in Manchester or something like that.
Must consider.
I've gotten a lot of comments here. This is great makeup in my last 2 streams where nobody commented. Part of that too is I've realized you have to make sure you get notifications out. If a lot of times YouTube's channel just seems to, their servers seem to not put out notifications when you go live, and if that turns into the case, then it's necessary that I'm gonna just stop the first stream and start a second stream, wait a few minutes, because if people don't know I'm streaming, people don't randomly find it, and it doesn't work well. Well, I've painted myself into a corner now, haven't I? But I guess I'm playing ranked. I've also noticed that if you search Rydo, R-Y-D-O, for me at least, my channel comes up first when I'm live streaming, but it doesn't come up first when I'm not live streaming. And I don't think it's particularly fair, but because what comes up out above me when I'm not live streaming is one single video that in no way, in my opinion, is the right result. But whatever. Be nice to get up to rank 18 before the end of the month. So I'm hoping at some point YouTube's algorithm fixes that, but I'm not sure it will. I'm trying to train YouTube's algorithm specifically by saying I'm not interested in videos on the trending topics. Not trending, but because you can't do it on trending, but suggested. There's 3 columns on the YouTube app, and the suggested is the far left for me. And so I go not interested, and then it says tell us why, and I click tell us why, and I said for a long time I've been saying I'm not interested in this channel, I'm not interested in this channel, and all it does is find a different channel that's offering the same Vine compilations or something similar. So instead of doing that, I'm now saying I don't like this video, and seeing if maybe that will train it to so it knows that I don't want to see a video full of trick basketball shots or Vine compilations or you laugh you lose compilations, which seem to be so prevalently popular, or at least YouTube thinks they're so prevalently popular that they get suggested to me even though I've never wanted to watch any of those videos. So I'm trying to adapt things there. There was a dollar game that has come out on Steam Early Access that has over 4,000 achievements. Now it seems like these achievements are pretty easy, but at a certain level you are just destroying the achievement idea. It's a endless runner about drinking vodka and avoiding bears, so some weird kind of Russian game. But why does Steam not have some limits on this? Like, I know Xbox and PlayStation both say you can't have more than 100 achievements or something like that. At least they used to. It used to be very restricted, where you had to put out DLC just to be allowed a few more achievements. And also, in the other way, when achievements first came out, you actually had to have a certain number of achievements. And so several games came out, they didn't want to be in the achievement system in the first place, which I can't really blame them. And so they just gave you one for each chapter of the game you beat and for beating the game. The Witness is a good example on that. There's like 2 achievements in the entire game, and it really feels like the right amount, because one of them I think is for beating the game, and one of them is for beating the hardest optional puzzle in the game. And so I was happy with that. Achievements are weird in Steam already because you have to get 100% of them for them to be put as like something special. So if you get a game and you get 99 out of 100 achievements, it's just listed as a game you haven't gotten all the achievements in the same way if you got a game and you got none of the achievements. And of course, the right response, of course, is not to be obsessed about achievements, and I'm still struggling with that quite a bit. Angry Birds is getting a movie sequel that's somewhat video game related.
I wonder.
My chat's either not loading or nobody said anything in a while. Let's reload it just to make sure. Alan Wake was on the Humble Store after it was taken off Steam. Now, from best I can figure, that is because the Humble Store trades in already purchased Steam codes. So effectively the game was already purchased and the Steam key was just given to the Humble Store to then resell. But I think sometimes the Humble Store also has non-DRM versions of games, so while that was still available, maybe you got a Steam key and a non-DRM version of the game. It's hardly an issue where we're gonna find out that Alan Wake is unplayable and unable to get. It's more of an issue where people may end up just having to pirate the game if it's not available on any legitimate stores. I'll take that. There we go, and there we go. Resident Evil is getting a film reboot. That's a little surprise. I seriously doubt they're gonna stop making Resident Evil. I seriously doubt they're gonna stop making Resident Evil movies, and rebooting it, since it's such a long series now, makes the most sense. The idea that they would have gotten a reboot actually only improves upon itself more when you look at the success of Resident Evil 8, I believe. Is that what we're up to? 8 or 7? No, it's gotta be 7. Yeah, we're up to 7. With that reboot of the game series, of course, they're gonna try to reboot it, so I wouldn't be surprised if the first movie in Resident Evil is somewhat similar to Resident Evil 7. But also, this is just Capcom. Capcom is never going to stop putting out different versions of Resident Evil games, trying to make as much money as possible on it. Let's see. Hey Rydo, says Loki, what do you think of the Druid Quest? It's real helpful when people put my name in the chat, because this highlights it. The Druid Quest, I'd have to look at what it was, honestly. You mean the quest card at the beginning, and not a daily quest that played Druid cards. When all was said and done, all the quests kind of disappointed. I liked them in concept. I want to see more quests invented. I think at a certain point, you're gonna make it a little bit complicated if you have 3 quests per character, because you might go first and have only 3 quests to pick, and that's it. But they may allow you to pick one of many quest cards at the beginning. So there's a lot of different things they could do there, but how they implemented them, and none of them turned out to be amazingly cool. Just kind of disappointed me. I'll go look at the Druid Quest card and see what it is. Moving on with the news, Spider-Man actor Tom Holland has been tapped to play young Nathan Drake. I don't see why, in theory, the Nathan Drake movie wouldn't succeed. However, to steal a joke from somebody else that I heard it, the Tomb Raider series was just a female Indiana Jones, and that didn't succeed that well, and Nathan Drake is just a male Indiana Jones by a different name. And so there is, when you have Hollywood in it, there is a definitely always an opportunity to screw things up. Grasshopper, which is always an interesting video game company when they make a new game. They're remaking the sequel to The Silver Case, which was mostly a visual novel called War. So the sequel is called Ward 25, and they're remaking it in English, and it's coming to PC, so look forward to that. Nier Automata has gotten its long-awaited AMD driver patch. Let's see. So if I'm over here on the druid and I select Unguru and go into crafting mode, and then we're looking for a 1 mana thing, which is this. Summon 5 minions with 5 or more attack, reward Bambus. And then isn't this the one that makes everybody have 5/5? Barnabas? See, I don't know what Barnabas does. I think it gives everything a 5/5 on the for the rest of the game, which is slightly interesting, but not as game changing as you might think. I think maybe the requirements on a lot of the druid the quests in general might be too high, and if we saw more people playing them, or if maybe they had started off with lower requirements and said right from the beginning we're gonna make them more difficult to do later on, that might have been cool. Or if maybe there's some modifier cards out there, if they'd put 3 or 4 cards, or even 2 cards that said move the requirements of your quest up 2 spots. That would be really cool. So for 1 mana you play this card, or even 5 mana you play a card that gets you close to finishing the quest, or closer. That would be cool. On the Nier Automata AMD bug fix, it fixes crashing and low frame rates. This really was just AMD's problem, and more than Nier Automata's problem, and it's a sad statement to have to make, but I can't recommend anybody that wants to play video games buy an AMD video card. Excuse me. It just doesn't get the support.
Job's done.
I want there to be competition against ATI and NVIDIA, Intel, which is NVIDIA and all of that. But it just doesn't really work. The AMD came out with a new Threadripper CPU with tons of threads, but I still wouldn't get that AMD CPU for video gaming, because I know it will never have as quick and as good support for video games. I would get an AMD processor if I was going to program specific things, or use Linux, or have like a custom server setup that is going to use those processing things. But I wouldn't do it for video games, where the normal people are expected to just set it and forget it. Random Murloc in your hand, +1/+1. I probably should have played differently. If I played this first, it would have increased. Let's go and squelch this. 1. The Minecraft Switch screenshot bug has been fixed, so no longer will people playing Minecraft on the Switch have their memory cards filled up. A new Dragon Age is in the works, which I'm not sure if Dragon Age is the one I'm thinking about, or if it's a different game that I know I played something that was this fantasy slash what would I call it? A fantasy story focused game, RPG, and I liked it pretty well, and I want to see more of it. Loki says no, it makes your minions in your deck cost 0. You okay, bud? That cough sounded rough. The cough I've been having since I had that cold about 2 weeks ago, and the probably right answer to that is no, I'm not okay, but there's nothing to be done about it. I'm just suffering the after effects and the damage, and frankly my coughs sound pretty bad. That's one of the things about being a YouTuber that scares me a little bit is that after doing this for 5 or 6 years, I'm afraid my voice is going to be so worn out, because that's what happens to radio announcers and stuff, is that they just talk and their voice gets gravelly and lower and just worn out because of all the talking. And but I expect right now I'll eventually be able to stop coughing and just be back to my average amount of coughing. Usually before I stream, I'll cough that just like that, so I can go an hour without doing it. And that's also why I should mute myself. But sadly, on my Blue Yeti, the mute button is right behind my my pop filter. So I have to fiddle with the pop filter like this, which maybe you heard that, maybe you didn't, to even push the button. And the button doesn't work until you push it twice, because it has a setup. So if the Druid Quest card makes your cards cost 0, that is at least, I would say, a better response for that, because then you'd have a bunch of 5 attack creatures that cost 0. It still doesn't feel like it gives enough of an impact, however, to counter that, because you would have to have a hand full of cards, and then that means a significant portion of your cards in your deck are going to have to be about drawing more cards, or you're going to have to play really slowly and save up your cards, and it feels like that's going to end up costing you the game more often than not. Moving on the news, I'm almost finished. The District 9 director is going to release short films on Steam. Not really video game related, but it does go to point out that the future of the movie, of how movies get released, might change. It's very possibly that it won't, but Steam is certainly trying to move in that way. Some of the Fable developers were kickstarting this game called Kinseed, which looked like it was going to be a competitor to Stardew and Harvest Moon when Harvest Moon comes on PC, and it has been fully kickstarted now, so I guess that's good news. I did learn, or at least hear in the rumor, maybe I can't tell you, confirm it, but I did hear that the people that are making Harvest Moon nowadays are actually not the people that made the original Harvest Moon game. There was a split where the actual developers of Harvest Moon separated from the people who owned the title of Harvest Moon, and therefore there's this other series that's going on maybe only in Japan under a different name that is actually the spiritual successor. So when I had talked about Harvest Moon having a new version come out to PC, and that being maybe the death of Stardew Valley, it very possibly won't be now, so I misspoke. Moving on with the news, Loki says he'll show my quest druid. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been delayed until spring of 2018. I don't know why they even bothered to announce a date, considering they very consistently never make their release dates, Rockstar Games. Seems rather silly. I should have my Murloc quest done by the end of this game. I would hope, and I'm guessing. Almost done here. Final Fantasy 15 has added a survey to its title screen to ask about future updates. Like, what do you want to see in your future updates? I like the idea. I hate the implementation. That would be incredibly frustrating to me if I launched a game and right on the top front of it, it says, fill out this survey, give us this information, because even in this case where they're asking for feedback from the fans to know what they want to see updated, it is almost certainly going to be used at some point just to get feedback and advertising information later. And so I really need to kill this guy. So yeah, the last thing I want to see become a standard in video games is them trying to get us to fill out surveys, and they've already tried to do some of that. Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap is set for PC release on June 8th. And then the final thing on my whiteboard is I'm starting to wonder if maybe I should not buy anything this summer sale for Steam games. The truth of it is that there's just not need to play just a few more beast cards. There's not enough progress as far as my collection of games, nor is there enough of a sale going on the summer sales these days. So the two options when the summer sale comes out in June is I'll either buy newer games at like 50% off instead of buy a bunch of older games in collections at 80%, 90% off, or I just don't buy anything because I don't need a bunch of random games. I have 600 games in my library. I've covered on my channel probably 100 of them. Growing that collection doesn't seem like the right thing to do when on top of that I feel like I might be better to wait till I can get a deal. There was a deal for a GTX 1080 for $350 on Newegg for a short time, and I missed it. Otherwise I would have gotten it. On the summer sale I spend about $300 on games. So and certainly those $300 are not coming from ad revenue for this channel. So I'm thinking maybe I'd just buy a 1080 or a 1080 Ti, whatever I could get in a reasonable amount of money. Try to spend less than $500 on a video card. Right now I have a GTX 970 and that card is too old. A 1080 would probably do 1080p just fine for a good amount of time.
One shot.
So that's a consideration I'm thinking. Of course, if I do buy a video card, that means I don't spend the budget on slightly newer games. And that means my channel stays kind of where it is, where it does mostly retrospectives instead of potentially moving to what I eventually want it to be, where I could afford and buy all new games as they're brand new and just try to play them as fast as possible. I suppose I also need to look at like what happens at E3 and what games are coming out. We have Destiny is going to be on Blizzard's launcher, Destiny 2, so that might be slightly interesting and maybe a long game. Look, he's asking me, could you mail me your old graphics card after you get the new one? No, absolutely not. Because I just bought that old graphics card and I'm probably gonna just keep it in my PC and run a second monitor off of it. But in the bigger perspective, I can't, while I do have some keys that I'm collecting to maybe at Christmas this year, maybe next year giveaway, I can't give away things to people. Like, first of all, if I had things to give away to people as far as actual gifts, it would almost certainly come through compromising myself as a critic and a video game reviewer, because I'd have to get into some weird contract with Loot Crate or something like that. And secondly, it would just be incredibly unfair to people. If one person got something, it would create so much jealousy. So yeah, maybe at Christmas I'll give away some Steam keys that I got extra, but that's as much as you can expect from me besides my content, which you'll have to personally put your value on that, how much that's worth. Loki goes, sad face, it's way better than mine. Yeah, the 970 is not a terrible card if you're just going for a very budget thing. I've been able to play a lot of games, and modern games still run on it. It's just, can you get the ultra settings on it? Can you get 60 frames solid on it? There's been certainly some issues with some games that don't run on the 970. I may very well have to have the 970 in my computer just so some games, just in case the new video card doesn't run them very well. Ideally though, I'm also on the idea that maybe if I wait till the next generation, there'll be a lot faster RAM, because the video cards right now have GDDR5, and the next generation is supposed to have the 3D cross-point RAM, I think is what it's called, which is supposed to be a lot faster. And having faster RAM might give a lot more advantage to new games. But as a video game critic too, I'm also going to constantly be in this issue of needing to upgrade things. I have other people that I should give I should give the video cards to, if I was going to give it to anybody. People that would actually know where I live and hunt me down if I gave away a video card, because they would be more deserving. Loki says, it's all good, haha. It holds me back from streaming gameplay. Well, that's a shame, but if you were just gonna do Hearthstone, which, Loki, you seem particularly like you're playing a lot of Hearthstone, I think you could probably stream with whatever card you have, because Hearthstone's not very demanding. If you, worst came to worst, you could lower down the resolution. Like right now I'm above 1080p and then scaling down. You could lower this down to low quality. You could lower down the resolution to like 720, which, let's see, which one would that be? That should be 1366 by 768. The 13. Yeah, I'd go to like this resolution, and then you could stream at those resolutions probably. I think you'll probably find that as you're streaming or attempting to stream, that your internet service is going to be the issue more than the resolution or the video rendering, particularly on Hearthstone. Lots and lots of games you could stream pretty easily using OBS with a much weaker video card. Loki says, I plan on doing D3 and WoW when I get that going again. What's D3? Let me think. Dark Dreams Don't Die would be D4, and I don't think anybody remembers that game. Oh, Diablo 3 and WoW. That would make more sense. Yeah, Diablo 3 and WoW, both games like Hearthstone, all Blizzard games, designed to run on a wide variety of video cards. So I don't think you're going to find that your video card is your issue. I think you're going to find that your internet is possibly your issue. But I would just suggest trying it and see what happens. I am certainly not playing very many beasts here. This beast deck is certainly missing a lot of beasts. Did I change this deck? I need a better deck full of beasts. I'm 5 minutes over now on this recording, so after this game, that'll be the end of the recording, and I'll just stream until I get the beast played, and or you know what, we'll play anybody that wants to play. So send your friend requests if you aren't friended, and Loki I know wants me to play. He may have to cancel his invite to spectate if he wants to play me.
Is someone injured?
Because I can't do it. And hopefully we'll get the daily quest done. But if I don't, I'll play a little bit afterwards. I'll play after playing people that want to play me, and after I end the stream. I have some ideas about potentially trying to go through Diablo 1, 2, and 3 and covering it. I've played 1 and 2 and 3 to some level of completion. I don't think I finished 3 though. And those games are so built around the idea of playing it over and over again that I don't know if I can really justify the amount of time. See, I need to play 9 more beasts. And I apparently don't have any beasts except for this beast deck and this beast deck. And this beast deck. Maybe I'm supposed to be playing this one. Yeah. We'll check that out later. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.